Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony and welcome to another edition of Being a Sports Talk. So I recorded this video the other day talking about Jameis Winston, and if you're wondering why, like, Anthony, I didn't see that video, it's because I didn't upload it. I just recorded it, and I did a little bit more research because I was really interested. I'm like, okay, what's the problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, this is going to be talking about my findings. I'm going to put some, like, evidence and stuff about what I'm saying on the screen. So just watch the video. You can listen to it, but I think the visual part will be a little bit better today. But let's just start off with, okay, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now are sitting at 2-5. They're second to last place in the NFC South, aka they're in third place. And so first of all, what should they do with the rest of their season? Honestly, they're in contention mode. There's no reason that you would want to keep on losing games. You're not in rebuild mode right now. You're in trying to compete mode with Jameis Winston. And Bruce Arians, you brought in Bruce Arians because of that. You brought in Bruce Arians to fix Jameis Winston. Now, looking at his stats, he isn't much better than last year. His completion percentage is down. His his turnovers are about the same percentage. His touchdowns are a little bit up. You could say that. But he hasn't really changed that much. And if you look at the teams that they played against, it isn't really that many, there aren't that many teams that are just like, wow, like, he's really faced some tough defenses. You're talking about, like, the Rams, the Panthers. I mean, they played the Saints, and he did put up a couple points against them. But what I realized with Tampa Bay is they have to win one way. Jameis Winston this year, when I'm looking at him, he's showing a lot of leadership. It was surprising. I made this video without doing any research, and I was just like, oh, he's just throwing interceptions. He's not learning. It looks like he's not improving. No, but it looks like he's taking some steps. And I think that Bruce Arians is going to patiently wait with him. Bruce Arians has only had him for a couple months now, and he's seeing that Jameis Winston is making steps, but he's also still making a lot of turnovers and a lot of dumb plays. I think the interceptions, I think he's done a better job with interceptions this year, but this offensive line is awful. You signed Brendan Smith to a big contract, but that right side of the offensive line is horrible. The left side is average. It's NFL average. That's what you ideally want. But that right side is like a turnstile. He's protected on his blind side, but the side that he's looking at, the side that he could see, oh no, that side is, he's constantly getting sacked. His sacks are way up this year. I think he's getting sacked like twice the rate that he has in previous years. So Jameis Winston has no time to throw. He's trying to make plays. He's trying to, do stuff for the team, and he ends up giving the other team more opportunities to score. Now with this defense on Tampa Bay, they're amazing at stopping the run. Vita Vea, he's huge. You have Jason Pierre-Paul. You have Devin White. They also brought in Dominican too. This defense is great, and especially with their defensive coordinator, I think they brought in Todd Bowles. It's great. This cornerback class, they need to start generating more turnovers. I've seen a lot of times where they could have made plays, and they're letting drives extend. They've done worse, I believe, on third down conversions this year with their defense. It's about the same, but you need to get that defense off the field. You need the Jameis Winston isn't helping either with those turnovers, and he's creating short fields for the defense. So you look at their points against, and you're like, oh, this sucks. But when you start the drive in the red zone and you're on defense, you're not really getting a chance. You're not really getting a chance to stop, and that's an easy field goal, So that's what happens a lot with this defense. I think Todd Bowles is a good defensive coordinator. He didn't really work out as a Jets head coach, but I think he's a decent enough defensive coordinator. He's like a James Bettcher type. I mean, that they learn from each other, but he's that type. He's not great. He's obviously not Bill Belichick. He's not one of those elite defensive coordinators. Like, you can say he's Vic Fangio. Todd Bowles is like Vic Fangio. We'll see how he is as a head coach, but a great defensive mind. And yeah, he's done it for years and years. I think Todd Bowles has his defense in a good spot. What the problem is with this Tampa Bay team is they're a lot like my Giants the other year with Eli Manning in like 2013. A lot of touchdowns, but also a lot of interceptions. You're not giving him enough time to throw. Jameis Winston makes some miraculous plays with his legs and just chucks it down the field like an Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz, but Jameis Winston can only do so much. I'm not saying he's amazing and he's like Aaron Rodgers when they went 6-10. He's not giving them the pieces to surround. but you're not giving him enough time to throw. And when he has enough time, he usually makes the plays. A lot of interceptions this year are just on tip passes, and people like my friends, they go, oh, Jameis Winston, turnovers, he's cooking them turnovers. A lot of them aren't his fault. And he's actually playing, I think, way better than he has in previous years. His QBR and passer rating are down. But I think, honestly, from what I've seen, Jameis Winston is good. But what should they do from here? They should compete the rest of the year. They should fight out the rest of the year and don't be like, oh, we're going to tank. And that'll show commitment from Jameis Winston and the entire team. Because Jameis Winston right now, he's playing for his football life. He really is. And the schedule hasn't really been easy for them so far, based on like the talent that they've had on this team. And let's actually take a look at their future schedule. So this week I think they're on a bye. No, never mind. I remember this. I bet this game. What am I thinking? They play Seattle. That's already a tough game. They're 6-point underdogs at Seattle, but Seattle hasn't really played that well at home. This will be a big statement win if they can win this weekend. Then they play the Cardinals. They should win that game. Then they play the Saints at home. The Saints will have Drew Brees back. The Saints have a bye this weekend, but that'll be their second game in a row that they play. That's going to be a big game. That's going to be a statement. I think that'll be another statement win if they can win that game at home. We were able to compete somewhat with them the first time, but yeah, they need to win that game. Then they play the Falcons, and you're like, okay, they can win that game. The Falcons will probably fire Dan Quinn at that time. Is Dan Quinn still the coach? Like, I swear he got fired like 5 weeks ago, but whatever. And then they play the Jaguars away. You're playing in the South. You should be able to win that game too. Nick Foles will probably be back then. I'm not sure if he's going to play. But, this is there will be a new Jaguars team with a new coach. I think they're both equally talented. The Jaguars are going to be fighting for their division. But that's a winnable game by the Buccaneers. Then they play the Colts at home. That you're in the Southwest for 4, 5, 6 straight weeks. After you play Seattle, you're in your home territory. You're in the warm climate. You're in the climate you like playing in. So you best win that game. You best go to the Colts and go toe-to-toe with Jacoby Brissett. This defensive line should be able to win. So, yeah, this is like a brief look at their schedule. Then they play the Lions. I think that's a loss. Then the Texans and Falcons. So they have a chance to finish around 7-9. And if they finish 7-9, I think you could say this is a successful season based on how they started, based on the talent on this team. But Jameis Winston has a lot of talent to throw to. I'm not giving him any excuse. You have Mike Evans. You have O.J. Howard. You have Chris Godwin. You have enough talent. Just because Deshaun Jackson left, they didn't even fit together. So Jameis Winston's going to need to find his receivers. The offensive line's going to need to do a better job at protecting him. And in the draft, they're going to have to find the right tackle. Or in free agency, they're going to have to find the right tackle. Jameis Winston is a great leader. He fights for the team. He's playing hard. It feels like a lot of quarterbacks, when they're at this point, they don't really fight hard. But Jameis Winston has grit. He's playing for his football life. And as long as he can just have, obviously, his off-the-field problems are good. He's being a leader. That's all you need in a quarterback. I mean, if you look at the history of the NFL, a lot of quarterbacks start off their first 5 years unsuccessful. You had your Peyton Mannings. Nowadays, you move off real quickly because you can move off. Back in the day, I wasn't there, but I would think that it would be hard to find a quarterback because there weren't that many quarterbacks out there with talent. And it's hard to convince somebody to come to a small market like Tampa Bay who's good. Once you get a good quarterback who's decent, you got to stick with him because who's going to replace him? That sort of thing. I think Jameis Winston, again, has done a really good job with leadership. And it's just, if you look at the game against the Titans, his leadership is just outstanding. He's fighting. He's diving on balls. He's scrambling out of pockets against a really good Titans defense, and they almost won that game. And it was the interceptions weren't really his fault. And yeah, so the games that they have played so far, I mean, they play against the 49ers, who we know how good they are now. The Panthers, they beat them. The Giants, they should have won that game. The Rams, they played and beat. Then they lost by 7 points to the Saints. The Panthers loss is kind of inexcusable to me. I feel like you should win that game. It's a division rivalry. And they lost to the Titans. So there haven't really been that many duds. I mean, Jameis Winston has been let down by his kickers, by his defensive cornerbacks not being able to secure the ball and catch the ball. But he's also made some dumb plays on offense where it's just like it's inexcusable, and you'd think that he'd be better by now. But I think the Buccaneers have a quarterback for the future. Again, what I would do in this draft, find your right tackle. You stick with Jameis Winston. His contract is almost up. You have a 5-year. His 5-year contract is up after this year. I think you stick with Jameis Winston, to be totally honest, because it's Jameis Winston or bust. You sign him to you front load the contract. You pay him $25 million a year, $30 million a year. And you go, hey, Jameis, you haven't even gone to the playoffs with us. We're not giving you more than $30 million a year. What are you kidding me? And you front load the contract. We'll give you a 3-year contract. And if not, they can move off it really quickly. Could you do a Kirk Cousins deal? You all of a sudden next year, that contract's up. And, you make it a really team-friendly deal. We can move off him at any point. You draft a quarterback you start drafting a quarterback in the later rounds. You try to develop him. Bruce Arians is good at developing a quarterback. But again, the reason why you brought in Bruce Arians is to make this Jameis Winston thing work. You didn't bring him in for a 1-year experiment. You brought Bruce Arians in to make Jameis Winston succeed. I still trust Jameis Winston. I liked him better than Marcus Mariota coming out because of his leadership, because of his size. And a final note, I want to say that they should try to bring in a cornerback like a Janoris Jenkins, who's pretty good. You need to bring in a guy who could, a shutdown corner type guy that you think is a shutdown corner. You need some help in that secondary because it's been absolutely awful. Teams like the Patriots and teams like even the 49ers this year have good secondaries. The key to defense is a strong secondary. It's not really a strong defensive line as much as people would think. People think, it's a strong defensive line, but it's more about that corner, more about the defensive backs and things like that. And also, you gotta look to get out of this cap hell that they're in with paying Mike Evans or paying their left tackle. You need to start getting off contracts a little bit. They have a lot of talent, but you need to make some smart moves. Anyway, hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think the problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is. Are you a Tampa Bay fan? What do you guys see? Again, I don't watch every single game. I've watched some compressed games, and I think Jameis Winston, I don't see why he's so bad. I mean, he's better than Mitch Trubisky. So, that's the pretty low standard. But hope you guys enjoy again. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.